Welcome to the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission regular meeting. Today's Thursday, November the 21st, and the time is 7 o'clock. As a matter of record, former President Don Webb has moved outside of Beech Grove and has resigned from the RDC. And trust me, he's already missed. Vice President Ron Moat is not here tonight. He has a hip injury and is unable to attend. We wish Ron a speedy recovery. The first order of business we need to take care of tonight is electing somebody to be the acting president until our regular elections in January. Would somebody here at the meeting like to fill in as president?
I would like to, I move to elect Kathy to be president for this meeting.
I second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And with that, I'm going to nominate Tara to fill in as secretary. I'm the elected secretary, but I can't do both jobs tonight, so I'm going to nominate Tara.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Tara.
You're welcome.
Okay, first order of business tonight is the reading of the minutes from the October 17th, 2019 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to glance at those?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make said motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. And Dennis, I do not have any bills sitting on this desk. I do not have any type of agenda. Okay. So we will move on. Any old business to discuss tonight? How about new business tonight? Okay. Okay to proceed with the public hearing then? Okay, this is going to officially start our public hearing. With us tonight are Mr. Robert Runn and Alex Carlisle from the law firm of Lewis and Kappas. And we also have Mr. Jeff Peters, our RDC financial consultant. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor or against creating a new TIF district? We will refer to that as the Northeast Emerson Allocation Area, which is the old CSX property, along with some adjoining railroad properties. Anybody like to speak on that tonight? Yes. Mr. Buckley.
I signed up to speak. Dennis Buckley, 112 North 6th Avenue. I support the RDC's endeavor to create a new TIF district. It's called the Emerson Avenue Corridor? Northeast Emerson. Yes.
Allocation.
Yes, I support it. I encourage the RDC to vote yes. Thank you.
And we can, Alex will explain where we are procedurally, and I can answer any questions in terms of the actual district itself.
Okay. Would you like for me to read the title only of the resolution?
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay, resolution number 4-2019. Resolution of the City of Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission confirming the establishment of an allocation area in the City of Beech Grove, amending an existing allocation area, and designating a taxpayer for purposes of collecting tax revenue from the taxpayer's depreciable personal property in the new allocation area.
Okay, I just wanted to give you a brief procedural update. If you look on your timeline, go to that second page. We have sent out, the RDC has caused to send out the Notice A there, November 11, 2019, which is our notice of public hearing. Those were published on November 11th in the Indy Star and IBJ. In the Notice B, you'll see the next one. We filed a copy of the notice with the city's Plan Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Board of Public Works, the DMD, Department of Metropolitan Development, and the building commissioner, as well as the Parks Board. And then for notice C, we filed the notice of public hearing as well as a tax impact statement with each taxing unit wholly or partially located within the allocation areas. Those units include Beech Grove City Schools, the Health and Hospital Corporation of Marion County, Indigo Board of Directors, the Marion County Public Library Foundation, the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, the Board of Education of Beech Grove City Schools, the Township Board of Warren Township, Township Board of Franklin Township, and the Marion County Indianapolis City County Council. And lastly, we also sent notice of public hearing to certain property owners within the new allocation area. Those entities include Heritage Group Holdings, also known as Milestone, or its affiliated entity, CSX Transportation, the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, or Amtrak. And then that brings us to, all that stuff was filed on or before November 11th, and that brings us to the public hearing right now. Any questions on that?
Thank you.
Okay.
And I think everyone, with the perhaps exception of Nathan, has heard pretty much an explanation of the reason for this for three meetings, I believe we've had on it. The purpose is that these properties had a total of $700 in assessed value for 7 parcels that were purchased by Heritage for Milestone or its related entities. And there were 4 adjoining railroad properties that we also took from the consolidated allocation area that we had before. And by doing that, the tax base year will be 2019. And so if there's any property tax appreciation with the development by Milestone, which is estimated in phase 1 to be $11 million, that increment is going to be captured by the TIF district and can either be passed on to the overlapping taxing districts, or it can be used for improvements in the city of Beech Grove to the extent they're either in the allocation area, they're physically connected to the allocation area, or they can be said to support the allocation area. And we want to make it clear that this won't affect any future possible school referendum, because referendum funds are not captured by TIFing a district. We see this as only a positive for Beech Grove. Former Mayor Wiley has testified that for 50 years or more, 4 successive mayors have tried to do something with that old CSX property, which was, it's went through about 3 railroad bankruptcies. So this is a real positive. We will be happy to answer any questions. Although Jeff Peters, I think, is going to talk briefly on the tax impact.
Thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. As part of this procedure, you're required to prepare a tax impact for all the overlapping taxing districts that you would impact by this. And included in this document, we've looked at the proposals of Milestone to develop certain of the acreage. And if we look at that and then extrapolate it out to all of the other existing acreage that you are capturing within the new allocation area, potentially that might develop into about $33 million worth of assessed value. If that were to happen, the impact we typically calculate is a all or none. So if it generates into that 33 million and you collect it into the TIF district, you should get about 990-some thousand dollars a year. So that would be ultimate development of all the parcels. If you got to that point, as we've talked about before, you have a decision every year to reduce the amount of increment that you take for revenue sources, and you can give that back to the tax base. Well, when you give it back to the tax base, it is not a dollar for dollar give back. You can't give back $990,000 in revenue. What you do is give back assessed value to the tax base, which lowers everybody's tax rate. And in the course of lowering all the tax rates, you would collect less circuit breaker credit, which are the 1%, 2%, and 3% statutory tax caps on all the different property owners. If that is the result, then more property tax dollars are net collected to each one of the overlapping taxing districts. Also, for rate-driven funds, like the county has a cumulative capital development fund. Some of the townships have cumulative fire funds. Those funds are rate-driven. So if we shove $33 million back into the tax base, they will harvest additional property tax revenue on that 33 million. If we calculate all those together, and they're laid out in detail in the tax impact statement, it would generate about $430,000 or $40,000. So for foregoing that $440,000, you pick up $990,000. And like I tell people, there's no other circumstance other than a TIF district that you can create that sort of return for that tax impact. And again, being a redevelopment commission in that you get to every June decide how much of it you're going to keep and how much you're going to give back, it is a win-win situation for you to have the ability to do it, because you have to do it now if you want to capture it. And then you get to decide every year from here going forward how much of it you keep and how much of it you give back. So perfect opportunity to seize it today, use it for the projects of the Redevelopment Commission as you see fit, and anything above and beyond that, give back to the tax base.
Can we also use that money, we can invest it into other taxing entities that, like the schools, for instance, we could invest some RDC dollars
If they support,
Again, depending on the location of the school facility or the nature of what the improvement would be. It's not a matter of, if you don't give it generally to all the overlapping taxing districts, but you fund a project, that project has to be said either to be physically connected or support the northeast TIF allocation area.
But the answer would be if there's creative ways to do that.
Yes.
If down the road we
Yes,
decided
yes,
to.
yes.
Okay.
Anyone in the audience have any questions?
What's the term of that district being created? What term are you looking at?
it will be 25 years from the first obligations that would be issued. So it could go on indefinitely at this point, but if at some point in time they decide they're going to issue bonds or do some sort of lease that obligates that revenue stream, then the clock starts to run, and it's 25 years from there.
And I would add, right now, there's no current plan to issue a bond issue. That would be a decision that the commission, together with the city, would make later, because right now, the only ask we have from the developing company is for some help on sewer relocation. And the current budget, there was sufficient funds for the RDC to pay $650,000 towards sewer relocation, and the city was going to pick up the engineering for that and the permitting.
What is that property currently bringing in revenue-wise? I know you said it was like $700 assessed, so
That's
peanuts,
assessed
right?
valuation.
But so it's just
Yeah,
a few
so
bucks.
It's,
Virtually nothing.
you know, it's a few cups of coffee and McDonald's. I mean, since,
So sorry, I'm just trying to get, so I've been trying to get up to speed for the last week. I forget what I was gonna ask now. When would we see, so they're gonna start breaking ground early 2020?
Yeah,
I would
so
assume-
your assessment dates are January 1 of each year.
So we might start seeing something by 2021, maybe?
22,
probably?
yeah, because anything assessed and on the ground, January 1 of 21 would be payable in 22.
Okay. it's
So
not
June
too
of
far.
22 would probably be your first revenue stream.
Okay. All right, thank you.
and there will be an abatement of their improvements for a while, but not on the depreciable personal property. That was the language that Kathy read that you might not have understood what it meant. In designating a taxpayer for purposes of collecting tax revenue from the taxpayer's depreciable personal property, that basically means that Milestone is gonna be bringing its trucks, its earth-moving equipment, and so on. That's the depreciable personal property. That is not abated. The raw land is not abated either, but right now it doesn't have any value, but it will with the improvements. But the buildings they build, there's an abatement that will go into effect for 5 years.
And on the depreciable personal property, we're not sure how much will actually be generated because they are actually a relocation within Marion County. So a lot of that will ferret out, but it'll get washed out at the assessor's office. But as they, come onto a new campus, add new and develop, you have that mechanism in place to capture all that new depreciable personal property.
I think maybe, do you have a question?
Yeah, is 650 the cap on that for the sewer?
That's the amount that the RDC approved in its budget for that. It wasn't exactly a cap, but that's the amount that we committed in our budget.
So you're saying you can go over on that from,
There's no, as of right now, there's no price affixed to the construction. We'll be meeting on it pretty soon, but nothing in place right now.
Right. Gary, would you like to speak? Would you-
With that being said, as now the new president, congratulations. What is your, ladies and gentlemen's cap? I mean, if they come in tomorrow, I know that's their expertise, Milestone, that's what they do, they put a pipe in the ground, but yet, I mean, what do you foresee as your cap? Have you guys discussed this? I mean,
Are you talking about for the sewer?
well, for the 650 and, if that just,
That, to date, that's the amount that we've said we're okay with. If it comes back tomorrow as $7.50, I think we're gonna have to reassess. If it comes back tomorrow as $1, we're in.
so you guys are willing to push back? I mean, say, look, this is within our budget, or again, last year's, I'm sorry,
Well,
projected budget.
I'm speaking on my opinion on this, not for the entire council. Feel free to chime in at any time, but I think it will depend on what is left in the budget and what other projects get brought to us. I know there's a couple of things that I'm interested in making sure that they get through next year, so I think it just depends on what else is on the table for us.
And the mayor, I know that for his plan, he'll do things.
I think the potential return on investment, even if you spend 650, or like you said, if it goes up to 750, you invest that in 1 year, and then potentially, once it comes online, if you're getting maybe 900,000 a year, I mean, you make that back in a year or two. So I think as long as it doesn't go way out of control, it just depends on what spending costs are, but typically.
To Gary's point, the only cost that you're interested in is the physical construction. The engineering and the inspection is absorbed by sewage.
Right.
Right.
So the only number you're interested in is what it's gonna cost physically do the work,
Right.
and we don't know.
And even coming back to that, if it is $600,000 or $700,000, to me, the residuals of the amount of jobs that are coming in here, the potential for people with those jobs moving into here, having lunch at our restaurants, potentially buying houses here because they want to live near where they work, and the fact that their jobs are such high paying, I mean, the residual impact on that investment and the return you get back in all the different taxing districts and the potential, to me, I think is significant. I mean, this is 115, 130 jobs.
125 is their estimate. 100 are coming from their Fishers or wherever it is, current operation.
Right.
And then they're estimating, and they say that's for certain, and then they're estimating 25 new positions.
And I know, I think anything like that can be a gamble. You know, you invest $650,000, but I think it's less of a gamble when you know a lot of that's coming back in terms of tax dollars, and you gotta assume, unless you have a really bad economic downturn, the land's going to hold its value, unless we just have a really significant downturn, which I mean, I hope we don't have that, but even then, even if you have a downturn, it's not gonna go down to a net zero, and you're still going to get money coming back on that, so.
Right.
I think
Well, and to finally have an opportunity to develop that property.
development spurns
That's a
development too, so.
long time to wait to
Oh,
develop that.
Absolutely.
And Jeff's figures are based on a phase 1 and a phase 2, I believe.
Yeah, these would be if the estimates that Milestone presented played out and all the accompanying parcels developed at that same amount, at that same level.
They're fairly hard numbers for phase 1 is 11 million for just that.
Liz?
We'll see also the assessed value of our city go up because of this. That's another, that's another plus.
Whatever part of it is not captured, the assessed value would go into the general tax base. So that would be personal property that's not captured, and anything that spins off around it that is outside of the TIF district. But any of the incremental growth inside the TIF district will only be captured in the TIF district to start with.
Gary, any other questions?
I just had, when it's included down the sewage works thing, that's another animal. I don't wanna go there because it's not my business, but I'm just, that's concerning, but.
Okay. Robert, are we ready to take a vote on this? Do you have anything else you want to say?
There's nothing else I don't think we have.
Thank you.
You should read the resolution into the record, and you can do that by title only if everybody agrees to it.
Thought you already did.
I read it. Are you,
Read it into the record.
She read the title in. I think what the mayor is saying is that you should vote that is sufficient, just reading it in.
I'll make a motion to read the, sorry, I put it away already, sorry. To read the resolution into the minutes by title only.
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think we've got him. It's gonna be a good thing. We're gonna be able to do a lot of
You
good
need to
things.
vote on the resolution itself. You voted on
To read it.
reading.
Okay. So read it again here, Robert?
No, just somebody make a motion and on approval of the resolution.
Ed, Nathan, Tara?
Just say I make a motion to pass resolution number 4/2019.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Is that it, Robert? We done? Okay. I want to apologize to the commissioners. Normally, if Don were sitting here, he would have had everybody introduce themselves. We're going to do it at the end tonight. Starting to the left.
Ed Bell.
Kathy Chappell, Secretary, Acting President.
Tara Wolf, acting secretary.
Nathan Rinks, new guy.
The new guy is the Beech Grove Police Officer, one of our Men in blue.
And welcome.
Yeah.
We're excited you're here.
Anybody want to make any comments tonight, or? No? Okay. Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I think the ayes have it.